It's Miller time. Yes, Andrew Miller is with us. Hello, Andrew. Welcome.
Kerry, good morning.
I am so happy to have you here. You know, just the gathering of the Millers.
Look, the name follows us wherever we go,
Exactly.
So it depends how we carry it.
Exactly. And it's so good to have you finally in our studio. What do you think of our cute black box in the corner?
Well, I was walking down the street to come to see you, and I was a bit lost.
Yes.
And then you were introducing the show, and I heard my name on the street. So I thought, well, it must be here somewhere, so I found it.
Heard my name on the street.
Yeah.
And also a big hello to Anton, who's sitting here as well. He's off mic. He's just here to make sure that everything goes well. We are here speaking about In2Assets. It's IN, and then 2, the number assets. It's an auction house, auctioneers. We're going to find out everything about auctions. Also, I've got a brand new book on my left over here we're going to chat about. But the reason that, Andrew, I got you here initially is that people don't understand auctions. And I know when I see a property that says it's being auctioned, when I see one of those signs on the road, a lot of us presume, shame, someone must have died, because that's why you get auctioned, or shame, someone lost their job or their business. So their house has to be auctioned. Before we get into one of the biggest auctions that Durban and or I think South Africa has ever seen, let's chat a little bit about auctioneering 101, or no, just auctions 101 really. What would need to happen for a property to be auctioned?
I think it's a fully loaded question, that, Kerry.
Okay.
To be honest, look, I've been an auctioneer for 45 years. So I live it, I eat it, I sleep it, I breathe it. I've done many multitudes of different types of asset classes that I've sold around the country and the world, for that matter. But I think one of the things that is really, really misunderstood on an auction is that it's not a fireside sale like people think it is. Our business that we've built up in the commercial and industrial property space is one where it's a first choice asset disposal mechanism as opposed to a last resort. Because think about this. You know, an auction is putting it out there for the market to give the market price. We do exceedingly well on auctions where no one knows what the price is.
So is there not a reserve, or is there?
There is a reserve. A reserve is merely a seller's expectation of what he wants.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, you know, you've got a reserve of 10 Rand. That's kind of like what you want. But what if we got you 8 on the auction? Is this something you may look at?
Yes.
Those are the things that happen on an auction. So when no one knows the reserve price, yes, our team is trained and skilled to answer those questions when buyers phone in, because the very first question a buyer will ask is, what's the reserve price?
Yes.
It's natural. But you think about it, you peg a price in a man's or a lady's head of 10 Rand. Why
Yes.
would they pay 11?
Exactly.
You've put a
matched
ceiling.
it.
You've put a ceiling on the price expectation already, if you tell them what you want. And that's what happens in an auction. We don't disclose the reserve price simply because we may get 11 or 12 on an auction. And if you say you want 10, no one will give you 1 cent more than what you want.
Yeah, because now you've reached it, exactly.
Yeah, and they'll offer you less. So what happens a lot of times is that the stock we get, which is fresh, clean, smelling of roses, it hasn't been exposed to the market via any other mechanism, traditional routes, whatever it might be.
And a traditional route would be going to a
broker,
yes.
estate agent, or a fireside chat around the brow with mates on a Sunday. I want this and I want that, you know. But it becomes very difficult for us to break that mold once we take it to auction, because there's a price expectation and there has been a resistance to that price. So now they come to auction because there's been a resistance to that price, but they still want that price that they've been wanting for 2 years. So there's no ways that we can achieve that and more because there's a ceiling cap.
Yes.
But if there's no reserve exposed to the market, the seller has a reserve. Every property has a reserve. Every asset I sell has got a reserve because it's a seller expectation. And once we don't disclose that, there's every likelihood, and if it's marked at the right price to sell, we will sell it. In 45 years of me trading as an auctioneer, I've yet to sell a bargain. Let that sink in.
So, but this is the thing. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to an auction, I'm going to get it way under value. Why? Why do we think that?
Well, I think a lot of the times is that traditionally the man in the street has had that perception. Okay. So our business is one where we deal with listed funds, high net worth clients, people who are street savvy, They have the wherewithal to buy stuff on the banks, from the bank, and they leverage that all the time. And so when they come to auction, it obviously they're ready, they're positioned to buy, and competition drives the price up. There are four of us in the studio sitting here now. If you put an object in the front of us here now to sell it, why would you get your worst price?
Exactly.
Because there's competition. You want to pay this.
Yeah, Devek wants to pay
that. Anton wants to pay that.
And then we go around again. And then around again.
And then it drives the price. So why would you allow Anton to get it cheaper than what you think it's worth?
So you're telling me that if I own a block. My dad bought the block ages ago. I own the block. There's tenants in it. It's a business block, but I want to sell it. I can go straight to an auction house. I can go into assets straight away, even if nothing's wrong. Like, this is my first
100%.
port of call.
That's how we trade. We trade. It's another mechanism of selling. It's another tool for selling. I would far rather, and I've got nothing wrong with the traditional methods whatsoever. All the brokers in town are our friends, our mates. They refer
but
properties.
Time
to
is changing, hey guys. Like, really, it is.
No, it is, and I think, but I think what happens in our business is that we've driven by timelines. So we have monthly auctions of properties, 25, 30 a month on a given day at Mount Edgecombe Country Club.
What?
And we have a full marketing team. We've got a team of 35 people behind the scenes, administrators, legal team, marketing team, you name it, that are answering calls, fielding calls, doing all those sort of things to drive the market to one day. And it all happens on one day. So if you've got a portfolio of 10 properties that you want to sell, there's no business in the world, I repeat that, there's no business in the world that'll be able to give you 10 offers on one day within an hour. You give it to a broker, he'll do a good job, make no mistake, but it's all suspensive and subject to this and subject to that.
Yes.
Auctions are clean, clear-cut, all the due diligence is done pre-auction. The buyer gets his finance before the auction. The day of the auction, the buyers are positioned and ready to buy. It's a decision-making process.
They've come with the so-called money in hand going, I know that my top is 100 bar.
Yes.
I cannot go higher than that, but
Yes.
I'm prepared to go until that 100.
Yes.
Ready to go finance.
And when you sign the contract, when it's accepted on the fall of the hammer or within that confirmation period, which is invariably in property, give or take 24 hours post-auction, a seller has a chance to decide if it's not at his reserve price.
Then he won't accept.
Won't or will accept. He
Yes.
can do either. He can accept or reject. And it's not another auction after the auction to determine what actually the auction price is and who's going to pay what after the auction. No, it's a competition at 11 o'clock on that day. You fight for it. If it's short of the expectation, it's subject to confirmation.
How exciting.
The seller then decides whether he wants to choose to accept that or not post-auction. If he doesn't accept it, let's say the reserve was 10 Rand and we got 8 Rand on the auction.
And he doesn't want the 8.
Well, then we negotiate. We try and get the settlement done. Well, will you take 9? Okay, we'll take 9. So we get the buyer up by 1, seller down by 9, by 1. We close the deal at 9.
Yo.
So, so it's not the reserve is not a hard and fast.
It's just what I would like.
It's what I would like. But it's set in stone, so we can't sell below the reserve without the seller saying, I choose to accept or I choose to reject.
Andrew, do you only work on commercial properties, or could I bring my family home that I would like to sell and move on, but I prefer to go through the auction route? Is it something
I think you look, it's something that's done. I'm not saying no, but our bread and butter is commercial and industrial property, for the very reason is that the guy who's got 100 million to spend, he's kitted out. He knows what he wants. He's got the bankers behind him already. He's paid off one property. He's leveraged that. He's extended himself to buy that one. It's all a case of leveraging yourself to create wealth. But the man in the street generally, it's difficult sometimes because the commission is payable by the buyer, not the seller. And there's a deposit on the purchase price payable by the buyer. So the buyer's got to pay deposits and commissions on the day of the auction on that price that he bids.
Yeah.
Okay, so he bids, it's accepted. Now he's put down several 100,000 in accepting the deal. It's done and dusted. He's got 45 days to furnish the guarantees. And he fails to furnish the guarantees. He loses the deposit. He loses the commission. So it puts the buyer I always say we're not playing with pop guns, we're playing with live ammunition.
Yes.
So you come to the auction prepared and you put your money down on the table, you bid, you buy, you pay your deposits and commissions, 45 days to furnish your guarantees. Don't come to the party if you can't furnish your guarantees, because you're going to lose money.
Yeah, we're not joking here.
Yeah, and that's why sellers like that, because it's a conclusive transaction.
Can we talk a little bit about this property that was sold? I believe it was the 21st of July, just recently now. I was looking at these numbers. So the previous record for an auction was the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit in 2014. This property went for 285.5 million rand.
Yes, so the Kyalami price was 205 million.
So you have, by 85.5 or 80.5 million, this is how much you've upped that now new record. Can you tell us a little bit about this day and how, I don't know if we're allowed to talk numbers, but did you manage to get it quite a bit above the so-called reserve?
Look, I think let's just start from the beginning. When you're dealing with numbers of this capacity and properties of this stature, I think what is really important to know is that this business is very relational. So we don't just put up a sign outside of a property, this is an auction. There's a whole history of stuff that's taken place to get that board up on that property. First of all, you've got to secure the mandate. And, you do that by trust, by building up a reputation. And when the seller says, I want to sell, and he calls you in, this particular property, whilst not being effectively on the market, obviously many people in town did realize that there was an opportunity to buy the property.
Yes.
But the sellers chose to choose the auction route, and we put that auction together in 5 weeks. From the time we secured the mandate, in fact, it was closer to 4 weeks that we put that property together. Look, there was a reserve price that the sellers had an expectation of, but if you listen to the YouTube clip or whatever it is that you can pick up, I think at about 267 million, I declared it sold on the market. In other words, the sellers were happy at that point to accept 267 million. I got the instruction that they were happy with that price. It went another 17.5 million in excess of that price. Simply because I had declared it, chaps, we're playing for real now. This is on the market. It will be sold on the hammer. You bid now, you buy it. You lose now, you lose it forever. So you apply that pressure.
Oh my gosh!
And that's what happened. And it was an unbelievable sale, because in as much as it was such a big price, in many respects, this was one of my easiest sales, because the process was efficiently clinical, and we knew the buyers. There were.
They said 9 registered buyers when I looked it up.
Yeah,
that's a lot of buyers.
Yeah, 9. I think it was 9. So everyone pays their 50,000 rand registration fee to get a buyer's card. But think about this: if they were in, call it 300 million is kind of like a figure just to make sums easy.
Yes.
9 times 3 is 2.7. So at that moment there was 2.7 billion rands worth of money prepared to buy that, if you think about it.
Of course, because everyone
was wanting it. Those 9 people were wanting it. So they didn't come for a haircut. They came to buy a property they knew which was going to go in that region. So you put collectively that pool of money into one room. There was 2.7 billion rand just on one property available to buy that property.
Andrew, how much is the property and how much is the auctioneer? And what I mean by that is, I've got a property, same property, with an auctioneer with not as much experience versus an auctioneer with your experience with a not as great property. What I'm trying to say is, it's like when you look at the July, is it the horse, is it the jockey, is it the trainer? When you look at something like this, and I know that maybe, I don't know if it's hard for you to kind of puff up your own chest here, but you've been doing this for a long time, you're flipping good at what you do, you know that, we know that. How much of this incredible sale was because Andrew Miller was the man behind the mic?
Look, you can't flog a dead horse, as they say. So if the property's bad and there's no interest, there is no interest. So, but when the interest is good, and when you know that the market is going to receive this property well, or this asset well, or whatever I sell, whether it's cattle, livestock, racehorses, or whatever.
Oh, of course. I auction all a bunch of stuff.
I do all that sort of stuff. But, if there's an asset that's worthwhile and people want it, everyone gravitates towards the good stuff.
Yeah.
And it is sometimes far easier to sell the good stuff than the bad stuff, because the bad stuff, you've really got to dig the barrel out to try and scrounge the money out of the people.
Yeah.
But the good stuff is kind of like a lot easier in a way. Yes, the auctioneer does make a difference, because I always say, you get auctioneers and you get auctioneers. You get number callers and you get traders.
Yes.
A number caller, you've just done an auction up in Tlhtlui for,
yes.
What was it?
For the Rhino Run.
The Rhino Run.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm pleased you took my place there to do that one, but you did such a great job, I'm told.
Thank you.
But with your lack of experience, with respect,
yes, no,
you kind of like number call it.
No, completely number call it.
Whereas if you know who your market is, who's going to buy it, how it's going to work, you begin to trade. And I think once you become an auctioneer, and I'm trying to clearly answer your question here, and to pause there, it took me 3 years at least when I started in 1982, where I was listening to my voice all the time. It's like when you drive a car for the first time.
Yeah.
Clutch gear,
overthinking.
brake, you're overthinking, you don't know where you are, and suddenly you hit the car in front of you. Whereas after 3 years, I stopped listening to my voice. It's like you on the microphone, you talk naturally.
Yeah, yes.
It happens. But in the beginning, you were nervous and you worried about how you're sounding. And it's the same with auctioneering. Once you trust your swing, once you trust your delivery, once you trust your style, that's behind you. Now you focus on who's out there, and it's almost like a out-of-body experience, because your mind and everything's droning ahead of you to scan the crowd, who's coming in, and not this asset is not likable by everyone. So of course you scan the people that you know are going to.
You almost like getting into a meditative state.
Well, you move ahead of yourself
completely in flow,
because you completely leave your. I don't hear myself, because I'm not worried about whether I'm switching from millions to 5 million to 100,000 increments. It happens naturally.
So with the maths of it, is someone next to you feeding you saying we're on 1.11230, or is that all you just clocking it yourself?
No, it comes naturally, because you switch it whenever you want to switch it and how you switch it. But the point I'm trying to make is that the difference between a number caller and a trader is simply time in the saddle. And if you've done it for a period of time, you begin to understand the nuances of it. And I do believe, you ask the question, what is the difference between someone doing this and someone doing that? I think that's the difference. It's that experience that comes into how you trade that asset and what you do to try and maximize for the buyer, for the seller, without making it too onerous on the buyer. So
sure.
There's a balancing act, because my buyer is my seller of tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so if I'm unethical towards him, or whatever it might be, there's a fireside chat that goes around town that Miller's this unethical dude.
And that's not how you have a reputation this good for 40 years.
You don't build a reputation on that type of stuff.
I'm going to pause us for a second, because I want to come back to someone who's listening and or watching, and hello to everyone on TikTok. If someone is in a situation where they know of a commercial property that is needing to be sold, or they've got a commercial property, how does one even approach In2Assets or to get the property into auction? But in my hand right now, I believe this book only came out on Friday. Is this correct?
Yes, it is. So it's brand new for you. It was actually taken out of the box for you.
I'm so excited. So in my hand right now, Between the Bids, The Life of an Auctioneer by Andrew Miller, it says, when everything comes together, a well-prepared seller, the right buyer pool, sharp messaging, and a trusted auctioneer at the helm, the results speak for themselves. And the sound they make, no, it's not the sound of desperation. It's the sound of confidence. It's the sound of opportunity. It's the sound that sells. Oh! Goosebumps.
Yeah,
Tell us about this beautiful thing I've got in my hand.
Look, I've got 3 children, a girl and 2 boys. And my girl is the oldest one, Jessica. She's a teacher up in Hillcrest at Curra. For years, she's 38 now. So for years now, she has been telling me, Dad, you've got all these stories, all these people you've met. Come on, man, do a book. I mean, I think 10, 15 years she's been telling me that.
And you finally listened to Jess.
And I finally listened to her, but I've never held a diary. I've never kept a diary. So one day I just started thinking, and I started dictating into a tape recorder, into a dictaphone, some stories of my beginning. Then it developed from that, and pretty soon I was sort of working until 2, 3 in the morning, Jenny, my wife, kept on sort of saying, "Come on, turn the lights off." I said, "Well, I've got one more chapter."
It was like, you're either going to get a book or a divorce. Choose.
And it was literally that. And so I completed it, started about this time last year, and I completed it before Christmas. But I didn't know the nuances of writing books and how it worked and what it was and all the technical jargon. I didn't realize you had to have an ISBN number. To
I
write
also
a book.
just found out that like to become an author, you need this thing.
Yes. So I didn't know that. So anyway, the team I simulated around myself, Sheena, Meg, and Greg Arday helped me formulate the plan for this book.
Oh, look, there's your ISBN.
It's there.
It's a good thing.
But let me tell you a story about that. So this book should have been printed in January already. But I had to wait for this number from the NLSA, which is the National Library of South Africa. Now, they advertise that you can get the number on a website within 4 to 5 days. Well, 6 months later, I'd emailed and still nothing. It's a free service offer. No response, nothing. Then the printer I was using, Ryan Love from Pinetown Printers, who's done a great job for me, by the way.
Shout out Ryan Love.
And he's got a bookstore online for me, so you just click on there and you can order the book from that link, which is lovely because he's done it for me. But Ryan said to me, "Listen, Andrew, I can get this ISBN number. It's a charge of whatever it was, 200 or 300 rand."
Yeah.
So I said, "But Ryan, why didn't you tell me this?" He said, "I've been waiting for this." He said, "No, I'll organize it for you." That same day, he said, "Look, I'm going to be away for a week on leave." This is about 2 weeks ago. And when I get back, we'll sort it out. So that same day, I received an email from the National Library. "Here's your ISBN number." Now, he hadn't prompted it. I hadn't prompted it, except for the emails.
Right, I want my $200 back.
No, but I didn't pay him at that point. But you understand, that's been the delay. And I didn't know all that. But
you know what? Obviously, the timing, though, was right now. Maybe just this massive property that you just auctioned only happened in July. So the fact that you got a record property on the 21st of July and now in the beginning, so what was the first? Was the 31st was Friday?
Yes,
so
a week later.
The 31st, a week later, you have your book out. I mean, I think the timing was quite divinely guided, in fact.
It was. Unfortunately, that story misses the book, but it's not a story about record prices. It's about characters, and I've met a lot of characters over 45 years. So I do livestock sales, studstock sales, which I'm still doing. I got 2 this week. I got one in Vrede on Thursday, and I've got one in Kumge in the Eastern Cape on Saturday.
So you're just traveling all around
to
constantly.
Cape Town on Saturday to do a big Klavervlei horse dispersal on Monday, back to Parys on Wednesday for the National Brangus.
So wait, are you like an auctioning celebrity? When you go into the auction world, Andrew, do people stop you for pictures and an autograph?
No, only Kerry Miller.
Stop! we can cruise together, no problem.
No, Kerry. I think, look, it's time in the saddle, as I say, and you build up a relationship with clients, and all these sales are annual affairs. So I'll do the sales this week, and the guys say same date next year, and I've done it for 20 years.
That's amazing.
Same Thursday of August, same Friday of August. That's my calendar for next year.
Andrew, before I let you go, I can arrest you. We've taken up so much time, but there's a couple of things I want to ask. Someone just messaging, asking about this property that was sold, presuming it's in Cape Town. I thought it was Durban, though, the commercial property that went for so much.
No, Durban.
Where in Durbs? Like Belito vibes.
Mobeni, at the port.
But
so let me tell you something about Durban, which a lot of people don't know. A year ago, November, the port was the worst performing port in the world. The Philippines got involved in it and done a JV with Portnet or whoever it is. We're not even a year down the track. We're number 4 in the world in terms of performance. How many ships are out here, Kerry?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
It looks like a bay.
How many ships we had this time last year? 50 odd ships out
Yes,
there.
yeah.
There was a delay, no cranes, no nothing. They've turned it around to be number 4 in the world. Can you imagine what that does on the economy? So your ship comes in quicker, the product gets delivered to Joburg quicker, you're 10 days ahead of schedule, your next order's on the waters coming in. You're 2 for 1, basically, ahead of time.
Brilliant.
You've got the airport here, you've got the port here. We're living in the most incredible city here. There is so much opportunity in that port area, the airport, all the activity going out north, Club Med, all those things. I don't know why anyone else would want to live anywhere else. I mean, look at the climate today.
Yes.
Look at everything. But Kerry, I mean it. Durban is the logistical hub of the African continent. Durban.
Durban is the logistical hub of the African continent.
And
we need that written on a shirt.
And that port has turned it around in 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. I don't even know what since November. What is it? It's 9 months later.
And I mean, so now that sale just is reflecting that.
Well, people want to be there. They want to trade there. It's easy to get to the port. If you're doing products that come in from the port or distributing via the port or getting people to come down from Joburg to pick up your stuff near the port because it's come off the ships or whatever.
What amazing news.
It's incredible what Durban has done. And, you know, there's some incredible people doing some incredible work here.
You know what, I love that we can take a moment at PlayZN to just shine a light again on KZN and Durban specifically, because, you know, there was a time people were calling us dirt bin, and we always looked at like the ugly sister of Cape Town and Joburg. And I do feel it. There is this rise of positivity around Durban and this feel of each of us taking a bit of responsibility. Like, we can sit and moan about our municipality, but anywhere in the world you go, you're going to have issues with someone's government, 100%. You know? So everyone now starting to sweep their own doorstep and starting to take some responsibility just for their space. And what's happening is we've got this really beautiful kind of like creep of good happening.
Can you just pause there as well to think about the road infrastructure between Durban and Pietermaritzburg? That's nearly finished now. It's a first world road construction that's taken place there. 6 lanes. There's no construction and activity in any other province like what we're having in KZN at the moment.
Yeah, you're right.
So they're going to link up Durban to Richards Bay as well on another big mission. And then, because there's a port there.
Yeah.
And obviously here you've got the airport, you've got the port, you've got the direct line to Johannesburg by road.
Yes.
You've got Cater Ridge, the mid-rand of KZN is that stretch of, you know, between Durban and Pietermaritzburg.
Yes.
It's going to be one city just now.
Oh, it's such good news. My heart feels so full. Before I let you go, I got a couple of people also asking, how do we get hold of In2Assets? I'm not sure if, Anton, if you want to jump in on this. How does someone get hold of you if they have got a property that they would like to move? If they have any questions,
Phone me quickly.
Hey?
Phone me quickly.
Okay.
082 466 9907.
And his email?
And avanveers@in2assets.com, or call our landline number, which is on Google, on AI, In2Assets Mhlanga.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you want to move a property and you want to move it well, this is how you need to do it. Andrew Miller, now a published author. Congratulations on your book and your whole ISBN number. And thank you so much for coming in, really. I appreciate it. I know how busy you are. This was a big one for us, and really so grateful for what you've done. And thank you for those positive words about Durban. I think that of everything as well, we really need to hear that, and we need to spread that news. So, Mr. Miller, I feel up and love you, man. See you Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.